uh, let's get this started. So, I guess in the first few seconds, I hope that doesn't make people like click off the video as soon as possible. But either way, so I will be ranking all Gen 1 Pokemon in accordance with my experience with them within the games. Just my experience with them overall in spin-offs and in the main series games. I'm basing it off of that. I have not done competitive. I had always planned to do it, but it's a whole nother monster, and I just haven't gotten into it, and I doubt I will ever get into it, as I'm very busy nowadays. So, anyways, um, I will be ranking these Gen 1 Pokemon based on my experience with them. Alright, so Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is a really good, it's a grass poison type, which there's all of them over there. No, actually, not really good. It's not good because of that reason. Um, it's also not good for the fact that it's a bulky grass type, which does not work well in a speed run or gameplay. So I haven't played Red, Blue, Yellow, so I don't know how it does in those. However, I have played Leaf Green. So Bulbasaur for me, because he's bulky grass type and he's slow. He takes other strategies, like you have to put something to sleep, you have to poison something, whatever, for him to gain any sort of advantage, and it's insane because it has like special attack, but what attacks he gets early on are all like physical, like Razor Leaf, for example. Anyways, and Vinewood. Anyways, so Bulbasaur, thanks to all these things and him being really hard to use, puts him in. I don't hate him, so I'm definitely gonna put in a C tier. And then with Ivysaur completed with Bulbasaur. So with Ivysaur, by the time you have an Ivysaur, Bulbasaur has a lot of like the moves that are necessary. From what I remember, they are like special. So he will be going ahead of Bulbasaur. So definitely. And Venusaur, I have never used him through fully. I have experimented with him. It's really good. He does get very good in the later gens where he gets thick, fat, and other stuff like that. He gets thick, fat, and it's bulky. Takes down people. Has a massive special attack. So, yeah. But because I am not that experienced with Venusaur, it just goes to show that for me, it's hard for me to use these two Pokemon. So very rare. I haven't ever, not even once in any of the time I played through Leaf Green, got to the point where I had a Venusaur. That's just me, though. Alright, so next we have Charmander. Now, Charmander, I didn't like the overhypeness of Charizard. I was avoid using Charmander and stuff like that. However, early on, he's really good because he really helps you take down the bugs and stuff, bugs and grasses and flying and all that. And he luckily also gets Metal Claw on time, so the Charmeleon gets Metal Claw on time, so he can take care of he gets Metal Claw, I believe. Well, he in those generations he did, so that way he can like take out rock types, so he won't struggle with Brock's gym if you do a lot of training beforehand. And however, with Misty, well, that's another. But because they're actually quite useful, and if time you do get a Charizard, it's really good, and it's not competitive, so you don't have to worry about stealth rocks. So they're definitely gonna go in A tier, because it's not S tier for the fact that it's just there's a lot of weaknesses with a fire flying type. So now Squirtle and its evolutionary line is, I have used it many times as I love using water types. It's bulky, but also really good in special attack. It's another Venusaur, but it being pure water, it's pretty useful, and without being a pure Venusaur, um, pure water type. So we only issue is that Squirtle doesn't get like water gun and stuff like that in those games. He gets bubble, which is a really stupid move. So, but it lowers speed, so it does help with that. Just this whole team is just really good. They learn really good. They can have Aqua Tail. They can have they can have, what's the other ones? Hydro Cannon. All these things. It's really viable Pokemon to use. So from my experiences with the games and even on the side games, they're usually really good. So their stats, their typing, and their movesets are very good. So I would be putting them in S tier. But that's my bias because these three I've used so many times, so they're going in S tier. So Caterpie. I love Caterpie, Metapod, and Butterfree. However, they are one of the hardest Pokemons to use effectively. Although Butterfree, in my experience, is a lot easier to use than Beedrill, but that's not saying much. In the early bug tests, you can start with them, you can replace them easily, and most of the time it's better not even to get them. Trust me, you don't want to be using Tackle from a damn Butterfree and Gust on a Graveler. No, not a Graveler, a Geodude, And it's just, but if you don't have, like, there's nothing I can say that's gonna put it in a good light because its abilities, like its better abilities, it gets later on in other generations. So for that, straight up D tier. And this is from my experience. I love them, but I'm not going on them based on appearance or nostalgia, whatever it is. I'm gonna try to make it as subjective as possible. The only place I feel like it's gonna be subjective out of all of these is gonna be these three, to be honest. Now this one is just, in my opinion, just worse than Butterfree. Alright, so next we have Pidgey. Now Pidgey and Pidgeotto, Pidgeot, they, in my experience, are not good when compared to Fearow and Dodrio. So yeah, they can also go in, and it's also, they don't get a lot of like, my memory's hazy when it comes to that, but I just yeah. Oh yeah, now I remember the reason why I don't like them. Their stats are kind of effed. It's supposed to, like, it needs good special attack, and 80 or 70 or 80 which it has is pretty. No, I'm just going off the top of my head, not through research, but it doesn't have a good enough special attack to be useful throughout the whole game. Rattata, Raticate. I don't have to say anything about this. Gen 1 in them. Yeah, they can't. They're actually worse than the bugs. No, they're more useful than Beedrill, so. Actually, no. Still better than Butterfree. No, I have used this Spearow. Spearow is really good because compared with Pidgeotto, it has a lot more like physical attacks, and that actually really helps it with Drill Peck and Peck, all those other things. They're just a lot more useful, and they evolve earlier on. And Fearow is just honestly not that good with Kenai and stuff, so their defense doesn't get lowered. Like early on with the consistent amount of Pokemon that are gonna use Leer and stuff like that, having Kenai is useful. Alright. Next we have Ekans and Arbok. I have tried to use Ekin and Arbok, however, why does Game Freak create such terrible like snake Pokemon? It's just it, these two are kind of all over the place, and there's really no reason to get them because it's Gen 1. They're not that useful. You don't have fairies, you don't have these other things. It's just, and they don't have coil yet, right? So really there's nothing they can do. And because of that, because they also come later, they just look nice but so underwhelming. It's gonna go here. Pikachu and Raichu. I've never used them, sadly, either of them, so I have no opinion on them. And then there is Sandshrew and Sandslash. Now, Sandshrew and Sandslash are actually pretty decent. They're pretty bulky and they're decent, and I always wanted to use a Sandslash thanks to the Mystery Dungeon games. It was like, in my memory, it was a really good Pokemon in the Mystery Dungeon games, so I really wanted to try it out in my team, and I tried it out, and then eventually I was like, if you want a better ground type that's faster and be able to get the job done a lot quicker, then it's best to go with Rhydon and Dugtrio. So for that reason, it's gonna go in D tier. Nidoran. Okay, so Nidoran female. I find it to be so cute. I've used it. Stats are really good. More defensive, obviously, than Nidoking, which is still useful. And great typing, ground and poison. So that's four things that are beautiful, right? And amazing stats. And nice ability, poison point. Hits you. And bulky Nidoqueen. The other Pokemon has really good chance of getting poisoned. Only issue is that they are hard to train. Nidorina and Nidoran are hard to train. They only have like poison sting. They're hard to train. They're really hard to train. But once you reach to Nidorina, they become a lot more easier to train. But it's still kind of a struggle. However, it's definitely worth it for both. They are S tier, like ahead of these ones. Nidoking obviously goes ahead because it's better in that it has more attack than defense. Alright. Now, Clefairy Clefable. I was a very big fan of Clefairy Clefable. But they're very bulky, they're nice to use. However, one big issue with them, it's really hard to try to find a Clefairy in that mountain. It has a very hard chance of being encountered, I believe 5%. And but when you do have it, it's really good. But if you want a bulky Pokemon that can also have good special attack, just go with Nidoqueen and Nidoking. Alright, next Vulpix and Ninetales. I've tried using Vulpix and Ninetales and I was very underwhelmed. I'm sorry, if a Pokemon made like 8 generations ago, or 7 or whatever, is hard to use even in the newest games. The last time I used a Vulpix was in Sword and Shield. So if it is that hard to use, that even in later generations, aside from setting drought in competitive battling, what good is this Pokemon? And fire, like I don't think fire is a good support type. It just cannot take hits. It's a support and it's not a good support, sadly. Shouldn't Arcanine and Growlithe be next? Why don't they come later? That's surprising, considering the version exclusives. Okay, Jigglypuff, Wigglytuff. I love Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff. However, they are some of the most impossible to use Pokemon and really hard to utilize and make it like an effective thing in your game. I love them, but oh boy. If you want this, just get a Clefable. Okay? You can swap it for the other pink one. Alright. Clefable in Mystery Dungeon. Anyone else who played that know why you like it, right? Not Cliff. I mean, Wigglytuff. And then Zubat, Golbat. Without Crobat? Yeah, that's not. Now when we're gonna get to Gen 2, yeah, Crobat is obviously S tier. And Oddish, Gloom, and Vaplum. I love them, just haven't used them. Never. Ooh boy, they're horrible, but also luckily I've never used them. And I'm gonna put it in front of Pikachu's, like us, ones I would never use. Venomoth, Venomoth. Okay, so I've used. Alright, so now Venomoth. Where was I on? So I love Venomoth and Venonat. So they are great to me. I've used them before. They're very useful. They're a lot better than Butterfree. Their typing is really good too. So it has less weaknesses, I believe. Only issue is, oof, taking on them psychic types. Ooh, baby, you better wish yourself some luck. However, Venomoth, I remember using Venomoth one time, and it was just one of the best Pokemon ever in my team. It's just, I love the fact that its typing is different. I'm glad that it's not bug flying, it's bug poison, which makes sense. And then Venomoth, luckily they didn't do to it what they did with Surfscape. You can change its typing and all that. But Venomoth, all you gotta do, add Psychic on it, okay? Add Tailwind if you can, whatever. Add Toxic and well, Bug Buzz, Toxic. What else? Bug, Toxic. What other sport does it have? Oof. Well, Bug Buzz and Toxic and Sludge Bomb. Oh, no. Bug Buzz, Toxic, Psychic, and just like even Energy Ball. I think you can learn Energy Ball. They're more useful than a Clefairy. It's up there. Diglett and Dugtrio. Okay, so here's the thing. I used Diglett and Dugtrio. It was hard to find because normally I would just find like Zudots and stuff. But it's very useful. What? It's very useful. Diglett's very useful. And it's fast, it's hard, it's a really good Pokemon. Definitely. However, Nidoking and Nidoqueen beat it. So, but still, I would definitely recommend people using it. Appearance wise, I don't like it. I don't care for it. What? However, okay. No, Meowth in Persian, I adore them. I've used Meowth like in the Mystery Dungeon games. I've added it to my team plenty of times. It had so many different forms now that each of them can be used very, very differently. And Persian is just beautiful. I wish it would have higher attack or special attack, but you don't really need it when you have Slash, which has a high critical hit ratio, and you have very good speed. Only issue is that it's frail. But looks, speed, and multiple different types of moves and strategies, sign me up, babe. Now, Psyduck and Golduck. Alright, so Psyduck is, Psyduck, Golduck, I've tried using them, however, they just, yeah, they get beaten by the other water types. Just... Mankey and Primeape. I used them one time. They were very useful. However, the longer you get in, you learn that Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan are better. But I've never used Machamp on that. So I have used Mankey and Primeape, and from my experience, they were very good. Their stats were good. They were able to dish out a lot of damage and just, you know, they're survivors. I'm a survivor. They are survivors. So I'm putting it in C tier. Alright, next. Growlithe and Arcanine. It looks cool. It has good stats. It has a good moveset. It's good in gameplay and competitive. No wonder it was originally supposed to be a legendary. Nah, they're good, but they're not S tier. It's hard to train a Growlithe. Oh boy, when all you have is fucking Flame Wheel and stuff. Because back then, like, or even till now, there's a very few amount of physical fire moves. Because you'd be using its weaker special attack stats. I don't know which one is weaker. I'm sorry. I'm just doing this from the top of my head. I don't have like. So Poliwag, Poliwhirl, Poliwrath. I loved it in the anime with Misty. I used it. I don't like the fact that one Poliwrath turns into a fighting type. I feel like it just isn't worth it. I wish it would just remain a pure water type, so that it would have less weaknesses. But they're cute. They're useful. And they're really good. They're nice. So do I want to make it above all these? Oh, it's definitely way above all these mediocre ones, and more useful than these ones. So I'd put them here. Poliwrath probably will go there. Poliwrath, on the other hand, just because of its weaknesses. Okay, you can just, I'll have mercy and put you in a tier list. This, you'll know, fast, psychic, great moves, hard to catch Abra, but lovely Pokemon all around. Oh, Abra is definitely gonna go in freaking like D-tier, considering how hard he is to use. Okay, Machop, Machoke, and Machamp. I have never used them. I have learned through watching YouTube that they're surprisingly good Pokemon. They're just not there for me. That's all it is. So I've never used them. And don't really plan to because they're slow, so yeah. Bellsprout, Weeping Bell, and Victreebel I've used. But for in-game stuff, I don't know if I would recommend. I'm just kidding. They're very good. They're able to do what they need to do with Sludge Bomb, with like, you know, physical grass moves. Like, finally a grass type that can actually make use of Vine Whip. It's just, and they can be a mixed attacker. They can either be a special attacker, they can be a physical attacker. Go to either way. And who can forget Bellsprout Tower? Come on, people. Gen 2, Gen 2. Be quiet, watch it. Alright. So I've used them, and I would have to say they, you know, they're basically another Venusaur. But because you're not stuck with them early on, you have more time to be able to pick the team around it that can help it to take out enemies. Obviously, you can't take out everything, but luckily by that time that you're able to get a victory bell, you have a lot of stuff that can actually cover it. Obviously, with Venusaur, it's the same thing. However, you're not stuck with it from like level 1, or where all it knows is tackle, and then you have to go on from there. Yes, Bellsprout is hard to use with just Vine Whip at the start, but I believe you can get VP and Bell. Like, I'm just saying, at least it doesn't start off at level 1. Alright. That's why kind of like Bulbasaur's gonna stay in there. Tentacruel, I have never used. Alright, so let's get back. Sorry about that. Alright, let's see. What's next? Who's next? I'm just saying. Alright, so. Ooh, 31 minutes. Nice. My original plan was just to do them with all the final. With the final evolution. However, like, just Gen 1 has really good Pokemon. Till this day. It's really nice. I have never used a Geodude, Graveler, and Golem. I plan to. And same thing with Rapidash. I have used Ponyta, but I was never. They're not worth it. Hard to get physical fire attacks, but just trash moveset, trash, like, hard, annoying to evolve. Just Ponyta is very weak and just doesn't help against everything. They get very few like moves that you can use that are not fire type moves, like on this side, that'll help. It's just, yeah, I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong. So feel correct me, scream at me, whatever needs to be done, so that we can all understand each other, and you can educate me on it. All right. So next we have Slowpoke and Slowbro. Oh, these Pokemon are beautiful. They are beautiful. However, I have never used one, at least in Gen. No, I'm not gonna keep that against it. I cannot do that to my bro Slowbro, who wins people matches like no tomorrow. I told you this is gonna be biased. Okay, that's where the fact that it's still relevant to this day and still like is so useful, just beautiful. Alright, Magnemite, Magneton, I have used. Hard to use when all you have is Sonic Boom and all those things, but that's later on. That's not a move that came early, as far as I know. This is a really nice defensive Pokemon, but only once it gets the Steel typing. But since I'm basing this off of my experience and I don't have blue, green, yellow, so I'm sure in Leaf Green it gets the Steel type. So with that, these Pokemon still good, to be honest. After everything, just I haven't used it enough to. I have to put it here. Alright, so next, Farfetch'd. and Dodrio and Doduo, Dodrio, yeah, Doduo and Dodrio. They're very underrated. Let me tell you, this damn three-headed bird did the most amount of damage on my team when I used it. It would also use ran try attack to get those burns, paralysis, and all that stuff. And it's just this bird. It's hilarious the fact that it can learn fly, but it's a really nice bird. It's really fast. It has a lot of attack. It has like plenty of things going for it. It has agility to be even faster. This bird is magnificent, at least in Gen 1. Yeah. Tried using. They're useless. Oh no, you are the most useless, so you can go there. Griven and Muck, I have never used. I don't even know the area that they're found in. Shelter Cloister, never used. Just Ghastly, Haunter, and Gungor. In-game wise, I do not think they're that good. Because just originally at that time too, especially in Leaf Green, you do not have the most amount of ghost moves. However, I will say they hit hard. They hit fast and they hit hard. But as per usual, it's hard for me to ever even be to. But I love Ghastly and my boy Haunter and Gengar. They're beautiful. But yeah, this one is gonna go based on the competitive. Till this day, these Pokemon are good. But the Ghastly is just, I love using this team and like ghost types in the Mystery Dungeon games, and especially these ones. Oh boy, they're so nice. Pain in the butt to go against. If you know about that horrible mountain in the Mystery Dungeon games, you're an OG. Alright. Next we have Onyx. Yeah, I've never used it. And I won't ever, to be honest. Unless I want to Steelix. Steelix is good, so. Hypno. Yeah, Drowsy, just never used. Graviant, no. There's so many better water types out there. Nope. Way better electric types out there. I've used just way too many weaknesses. Way too many weaknesses. But otherwise, it's a really good special attacker, and it's bulky, and it can get the job done a lot of the times. And Cubo and Marowak, I've tried using. I mean, bruh, just freaking Dugtrio beats it out. Dugtrio beats it out unless you have the Bone Club item and stuff. Lee and Chan, I've never used. I did use it. No, actually, I did use a Hitmonlee. Just, it's not that nice. I don't know. I'm waffling. I don't remember. It's been a long time. Okay, so Licky. I love Licky. Okay, so competitive, he's not good. He has a lot of HP, has a lot of defense, and where Pokemon tend to don't do that great. However, Lickitung and Licky, they because they're normal type, they only have like one weakness, and so their moveset as normal types is very versatile. Just gotta put up with that lick. Alright. Coughing and wheezing. Have me coughing and wheezing right now. Who knows? Maybe it's somewhere there. There's someone near me. Because I'm coughing all the damn time. Okay, so coughing. Alright, coughing and wheezing I've used before. They're very good and competitive. They're very good in game, but in game you mostly you want it fast and hard hitting. These two are not that. Alright, so they're going on D tier. Rhyhorn or Rhydon? Do I even have to say anything? Chansey. I tried using him in an in-game playthrough. Oh, why was I wrong? Tangela without Tangrowth is just... I've never used it. And this con... It's not S tier because... After its mega, it hasn't really done much, so... It'll go on A tier. These two... Without the final evolution... But also, I think I've never... Oh no, I have used them. I just wasn't able to get a Kingdra. These two. Beautiful, but they're terrible. Star you, star me. The goat. The damned star goat. Y'all know. Fast. High special attack. High special defense. Good HP. Recover. I've never used a Mr. Mime. Because, I mean, come on, Mr. Mime. Even when you got the fairy type, you're still not the fairy to use? Bruh. Ooh, bruh. Scyther, I thought Scyther was a second gen Pokemon. Well, I've never used Scyther. Jinx, I've also never used. Never. Tauros is really good. Just haven't ever used it, sadly. Magic up and Gyarados. Oof, Gyarados. Beautiful water type. Nice attack, nice special attack. Nice defenses, nice HP. Good moves. Gotta love it. And Intimidate? Boy. That's my boy. Lapras has always been S tier. Y'all know why. Bulky, nice, decent attack, special attack. Just beautiful. Even makes the shitty typing that it has actually useful. Give it credit. Ditto. I've never used a Ditto. Eevee. Eevee is such an annoying Pokemon to like use early on, especially if you can't get the right way to find out what you want. So, and the 3 evolutions, Okay, I've used Vaporeon before, and it is definitely B tier, A tier, B tier because it alongside Poliwrath, like it evolves with a stone, and like stones were pretty rare back then. I feel, and Jolteon, I've never used it. Flareon, I wish I had never used it. Horrible, horrible Pokemon. Till this day, a horrible Pokemon. Just oof. Porygon, I've never used because I can't. How am I gonna win those game corner stuff? All right, Ammonite, Amistar. Now I have used Ammonite and Amistar, and they are pretty decent. They are pretty decent, and they're fun to use. Let me tell you that. Kabuto, Kabutops. Oh boy. Okay, so Kabuto, easy to defeat. Whatever. Never used, obviously, right? This one, on the other hand, another one of my biases, one of the hardest bosses to beat in the Mystery Dungeon games. It deserves an S. Right. Aerodactyl. Oof, Aerodactyl is a freaking monster. It's a monster. Snorlax. I've, this is a hot take. I've never used Snorlax, but otherwise you'd feel like S tier. Articuno. I've never used Articuno. Zapdos. I've never used Zapdos. Moltres. I've used, and it's not fun. Dratini. I've never used. Dragonair. Never used. Dragonite. Never used. These two are just freaking S tier. I'd say Mew is actually low because nobody really uses it. So there we go. That's my tier list. I hope I didn't waste your time. Thank you very much. I hope you subscribe. Alright, thank you.